Since the pandemic lockdown began in March of 2020, there has been a lot of advice out there for teachers new to teaching online. I've been teaching since 2014. I have been teaching hybrid and online classes since 2016. And since 2019, I have been teaching entirely online. Here's some of what I've learned. The biggest point to make is that we're not in a classroom. We're online. And that seems super obvious. And it is, but it's one of the hardest things to wrap our heads around. For example, in person, I teach standing up and I walk around the classroom. When I teach live online, I'm seated. This position conveys a different image than this does. I'm in a position of authority here, and students are seated at desks. To maintain my posture and to control my breath, I am holding my core, I've squared my shoulders, and I'm pitching my voice to the back of the room. I don't use mics even when I'm in a lecture hall. I've found that when I'm mic'd up, students don't ask or answer questions. I roam the room. Does this mean that students turn to watch me? Yes, that's the point. They're engaging their bodies physically, which can help with information retention. Also, it lets me see all of their faces. By a few classes in, I can recognize them on sight, and by the middle of the semester, I know them by name. This is vital for increasing student engagement. None of what I just said is really possible from this position, so I have to adjust. I can't gesture as broadly as I do when standing. But when seated, I can lean into the camera to emphasize a point, and they'll understand that body language. Here, I take a more conversational tone. We're closer to peers, even though they agree I am more knowledgeable. Students who are used to video calls react well to this sort of body language. They understand the conventions that have developed around video calls over the last 2 years. Important point here, I do not make them turn on their cameras. Why? Because I don't know their situation. Are they at home and the only place they can get privacy is the bathroom? Are they somewhere where they don't have enough bandwidth for both the video and audio functions? Are they uncomfortable appearing on camera? Do they not want other people to see into their personal space? All of these are excellent reasons to not have their cameras on. Does it make my job more difficult as a teacher? Yeah. But it's the nature of the beast, and if I'm going to create an equitable learning space, I start by respecting that students are in different situations that are potentially less than ideal. Since this physical position fosters a more conversational tone, I keep the chat open and watch it and pull in relevant comments from students. This is great for students who aren't comfortable speaking up in class. We've all had those silent students who crush the written work but seem to equate speaking in class with getting their toenails pulled out. And since I am not in the toenail pulling business, I really appreciate the chat. Depending on the platform, the chat will be preserved along with a video recording. Check on that before the term begins and plan accordingly. I also teach asynchronous courses. In fact, I do more of those than synchronous. I am seated while recording those lectures, and I aim for the feeling of being in office hours when they ask me to explain something. I still have the knowledge, but I'm sending them to find it on their own. And I think that's the best practice for asynchronous courses in general. I give them information they won't find in their book. I'll provide context for the assigned readings, and then I let them figure it out on their own. The biggest question for a lot of teachers is, how do we prevent cheating in an online course? And the answer is you don't. You just won't be able to do it. Hacks around SafeAssign and Turnitin were available within a few months of their implementation. The answer to preventing cheating online and in person is to create assignments where cheating is more work than it's worth. But that's a topic for another video. The takeaway from this video is that we behave differently in different contexts, which again is super obvious, except that it's not. That affects how we teach and how we interact with students. Being aware of that is the first step in creating a good online classroom experience for everyone. including the teacher.